In 1883, hematite, a high-grade and oxygen-rich iron ore, was discovered at 47 degrees 54 minutes north and 91 degrees 52 minutes west on northeast Minnesota's Vermilion Range. Exploratory drilling indicated a large, rich ore body worth millions even in 19th century dollars. That drilling also showed that those riches lay deep underground. But with a gift from nature like this, workers found a way to get it, and in doing so they built a community and provided steel for America's booming growth and security. This is what it took to mine deep-lying hematite. A 20-mile railroad was cut through the forest southeast from Sedan. By 1888, it reached the by-then mining camp that was to become Ely, Minnesota. The first shipment of ore departed the Chandler mine, a few hundred feet southwest of the Pioneer, on July 10, 1888. Early attempts to surface mine the ore body proved unsuccessful at the adjacent Chandler. Chandler mine began sinking shafts to reach the deep hematite. Pioneer sank its first shaft in 1888, and by year's end had begun shipping ore via the new railroad to two harbors on Lake Superior. There it was loaded on lake carriers to deliver to the steel mills down lake. Early mining used primitive tools requiring much manpower and was perilous. Mining techniques evolved over the decades, and by World War II, Ely's mines were producing valuable hematite for the war effort. Underground mining had become safer and more efficient. After the war, demand for steel dropped, and underground mining had to continue to improve in safety and efficiency to remain viable. The peak of that efficiency was developed at the Pioneer, the longest to survive and the most productive. Power for the mine was delivered from the engine house. Here, boilers burning coal produced heat for the surface building, compressors pumped pressurized air to run drills underground, and large electric motors powered the cages to deliver men and supplies in the mine. At the B shaft at the south end of the mine, the hoist lifted ore and waste rock to the surface. Pioneer reached a depth of 1,700 feet below the surface. By its last shift, mining was being done on 16 level, 1,600 feet down. Much timber was used to shore drifts and protect the workers from cave-ins. Lagging, smaller logs, were placed over the top of the timber sets to protect against falling rocks. Underground were miles of drifts, tunnels, providing access to the ore body, and services like electricity and compressed air for mining operations. Drifts were drilled at a 1% grade to allow draining of groundwater. This water was then collected in sumps and pumped to the surface, where it was used to wash ore before shipping. After that use, it was pumped to settling ponds, where it was clarified before returning to the watershed. Timbers and other supplies were transported on a narrow-gauge rail network underground. Timbers were supplied by area companies, resulting in more local jobs. Besides miners, Pioneer employed other skilled tradesmen, including pipe fitters, machinists, electricians. Setting timbers was one of the duties of the contract miners. They became experts with axes and bow saws. Drilling was precise. Holes were cut at specified angles. Air drills with water injectors reduced airborne dust. But drilling was noisy, and hearing loss was always a concern. Blast holes were typically drilled 6 to 6.5 feet into the face, or the breast of the drift. When drilling of a breast was complete per the engineer's plan, fuses were cut to length to provide the desired blast sequence. Explosives were fused, and the holes were charged. With a fused dynamite stick in each hole, ammonium nitrate is blown in. The area is cleared, checked, and the fuse is lit. After the blast, the ore harvest began with the rigging of the boom in preparation for tugging, the scraping of the ore out of the drift as it begins its journey to America's steel mills. The ore was dropped down a chute to a sub-level below to be loaded in tram cars. The underground tracks were kept clear of rock and ore to assure safe and efficient operation of the trains. Cars were loaded and transported to the B shaft. Men used their hard hat lamps to signal each other to assure safe movement of the train. At the B shaft station, the cars were side dumped into a pocket. From the pocket, the ore was loaded into the skip, a cargo elevator that lifted ore continuously from the depths of the mine to the surface. The B shaft headframe was a noisy place day and night, with horns, bells, trucks, railroad cars positioning themselves to receive thousands of tons of high-grade ore every day. Debris would occasionally come up with the ore and would be culled. In its final years, Pioneer washed ore to raise its value to steelmakers. Water pumped from the mine was sprayed on the ore as it passed over a screen. This machine separated waste rock from the ore. After washing and separating, blue hematite, 67 to 68% iron, shined, reflecting the pride the miners took in their hard work. The ore was crushed to make it easier for the mills to convert to steel. After hiding underground for millions of years, then being blasted, tugged, moved a mile underground, raised 1,700 feet to the surface, washed, crushed, and dumped into a rail car, the hematite finally left Pioneer Mine and Ely en route to meet America's steel needs and leaving behind a community proud of its contribution and mining heritage. Pioneer ceased operations on April 1, 1967, the victim of advancing smelting techniques that no longer needed expensive vermilion lump iron ore. In her 88 years, Pioneer became the most productive, largest, and longest-lived of the Vermilion Range's iron mines, lifting 41,112,587 long tons of hematite to feed America's need for steel. When Pioneer closed and stopped pumping from her depths, the water table rose and filled a depression created by the removal of part of the ore body, and 140-acre Miners Lake formed. Today, visitors enjoy swimming, cliff jumping, and summer and winter fishing in her clear water. Much of the original ore body remains beneath the new lake. Pioneer and the other underground iron mines of Minnesota's Vermilion Range provided jobs and opportunities for generations of immigrants and their descendants to enjoy this beautiful area. Their industriousness helped build a strong America. In 1978, Pioneer Mine was named a National Historic Site, honoring its contributions to the community and the country.